Welcome to the Let Them Live podcast with Emily Burning, a place for meaningful conversations, real stories, and a shared mission to protect life. Hello, guys. Welcome back. We're here for another episode. You can see my dog lounging on the couch. She's had such a hard day napping. But anyways, I'm really glad to be here. These are really fun podcasts. I'm actually really enjoying these because I'm getting to know people a whole lot more. I'm getting to interview friends and family and just share their stories with everyone. And that's kind of why I started this podcast, because I want to share stories. I want the pro-life community to be like more cohesive, more like in step, in sync, not to be confused with the band In Sync. But I want the pro-life movement to work together, and the best way to do that is to share other nonprofits, other organizations, other people's stories and what they're doing, and to have you guys, get involved with them as well. So today, I've been looking forward to this interview. So we have Brian Ottinger who's joining us, and he is the director of expansion at Love Life. And if you guys don't follow Love Life, you've got to. Um, it's an amazing organization. They are saving thousands upon thousands of lives, activating churches. I'm going to let Brian talk about all of that. But I'm really excited because Brian is not just a Love Life, partner, but an incredibly dear friend of Nathan and I. And we've just all gotten very close. Doing this mission side by side, this pro-life work. And it's not often that you meet someone who just gets you, is on the same page as you. And Brian and his wife Carolina and their kids, and we all just kind of immediately became best of friends. So I'm really excited. Brian, I'm gonna shut my trap, get you in here.
You
But
caught me
I'm really
teasing. I'm just listening, like, keep going, keep going.
you're like, talk me up, talk me up.
No, it's so good. It's all true. God has, formed just a tremendous relationship in a short amount of time. Very fond of not only what y'all do as a ministry. I think it's just amazing meeting the practical needs of these moms and these dads and helping save so many lives. But really love you guys personally. Thinking back, just the way the Lord really sovereignly intended for us to be in relationship from, meeting at March for Life 2 years ago, which I was like, why am I here? Like, what is, what is this all
Same.
about? And meeting you guys. And I remember, even having, I think it was Nathan's business card he gave me that night or something. I got to hold the baby and I was with my friend
Yeah,
Scott
baby
and all
Ayla.
that. But yeah. And then, I try to follow up with these cards, right? Director Expansion, Love Life, got to be connecting. And right around the time that I followed up with Nate, uh, God had begin really pursuing his heart and getting him more activated in the faith, and just feeling this kindred spirit and a desire that, man, this is the kind of guy, this is the kind of guy I want to invest in,
Yeah.
and the kind of guy I want to learn from. And
Yeah. That's been a huge
yeah,
blessing for us because, Nathan's journey to Christianity and along the road, it's not like a straight path, and you've played a huge role. I mean, Nathan spent Easter with you guys, and he came back from that just like completely transformed, honestly. And you've had a huge
yeah,
part in his
yeah,
faith. And sometimes, that's a role I feel like man to man, that's like a really great relationship to have. And he
yeah,
definitely looks up to you.
yeah. And I've learned a lot from him, and you as well, just in your humility and your walk with Christ, and just being
Yeah.
transparent, sharing a lot of your struggles
Yeah.
and successes with the world,
Yeah.
with the body of Christ. It's been very encouraging, and just want to honor you guys and thank you
Yeah.
for having me on this
Yeah.
podcast.
Well, I'm really
Uh,
excited,
yeah,
and I'm excited for you to talk about Love Life. So it's kind of a funny story I just remembered off the top of my head, but when I had first heard of Love Life 2 years ago, over 2 years ago, I was like, oh, okay, like I'll follow them on Facebook, and I type in Love Life, and I'm like, oh my gosh, they have like 1,000,000 followers or something. It was something crazy, and I was like, "Yeah, that's awesome." So I hit follow. I didn't, like I didn't really look close enough. So then I didn't think anything of it. A couple weeks go by, I open my Facebook, and I see this, like, you can see all the stories at the top, and I was like, "Why am I seeing naked women?" Like,
Oh my gosh.
I was, like,
Oh,
so confused, and I
no.
was like, "I didn't follow that," and then I turns out there was a page called Love
Yeah.
Life, and so that is my PSA.
Sorry.
Make sure you're following the right Love Life,
Yeah.
um, and not
Yeah, so
yeah,
so you can follow Love Life USA,
Love
and
Life
that's
USA.
yeah, that's the distinction. You can save the drama on social media if you wanna go to lovelife.org. You can go straight to our website, but yeah, there's an app out there. Apparently, there's a movie a couple years called Love Life, so it's a great name, right?
Yeah,
Because
it's a
it's like,
great
"Hey,
name.
we love life," right? God loves
Yep.
life, John 3:16. "For God so loved the world, he gave his one only son, whoever believe would not perish but have everlasting life." But it does make for a confusing social media account. So
Well,
we're
we
on behalf of the entire Love Life team, we're sorry you had to see that.
no, I should have looked but let them live, that's the same thing. It's like it's such a common and it's great actually. I was reading something about organizational names and simple names like that are really catchy and amazing, but they can also mean a lot of different things. So Let Them
Yeah,
Live has been applied to like animal rights, like all this stuff,
yeah,
so it's
yeah.
okay. But that's my funny, like my funny personal introduction into love life. But since I followed the right accounts. I was actually scrolling right before we hopped on this and I saw a video and it says we have now officially seen 6,000 babies saved from abortion since 2016. 6,000
Yeah,
plus. And I was like, all right, I got to bring that up because that is
yeah,
amazing.
yeah, major, development. Actually, the cool thing about that is too, just the way our stories align is, right around the time that I was reaching out to Nate, we were in Florida, which is where you guys live, and we were on a little bit of a vacation, and pretty major milestone for us at that exact time. 5,000 our 5,000th baby got saved in Raleigh, and I remember I was going on live, did a Facebook live, and Nate was like, I don't know how, like God superintended. He can tell you the story, but he pulls up his phone and it's me talking. And then I think like a couple days later, I reached out to him, and he saw it as a divine providential sign from the Lord. And our ministries have connected, and we've worked together, and we just celebrated um, last weekend our 6,000th baby saved. So I think it's about 1,000 every year at this point.
That's
As
amazing.
the momentum grows, it could be a couple thousand a year, but it's really just to kind of get into what is love life. Love life is a ministry that exists for the church. We don't exist apart from the church. And what we really do is we activate churches to be a voice for the voiceless, both at abortion centers across the nation, but also within the congregation itself. We've tried to equip pastors how to really teach them how to speak redemptively about life. We all know as Christians that abortion is wrong. We know that it's murder. But sometimes pastors either haven't spoken about it, or they've spoken about it in a way that is just condemning, which we should condemn sin, but they haven't really provided an outlet or a way for people who had abortion in their past to feel that there is forgiveness for them. Also, to let the congregations know that, hey, if you or someone find yourself in unexpected pregnancy, we want to let you know that the church is a safe place for you to run to instead of run from. And a lot of people say, what? Like, what do you mean? And the reality is, CareNet did a study. They said 56% of people that found themselves in unexpected pregnancies claim to be Christians, claim to have just attended an evangelical church in the last month. And so we're like,
Yeah.
man, if we can start talking about abortion in the church in a healthy way, we think we can cut down on the number of abortions,
Yeah.
because we all know, right? You're supposed to wait until you get married and
Yeah.
to have sex and to do it that way. But we all know that people are sinners and they do
Yeah.
things how they want to
Yeah.
do them. And,
On church-going
and so
Christians, abortion is a
yeah,
lot closer than they think.
yes,
It's in
big
their
time.
church, whether it's someone that is actively considering getting an abortion or someone who's had an abortion in the past, and
Yeah,
so the way that pastors talk about it is so important, and
absolutely,
so important that they just talk about it. There's so many churches
absolutely.
they don't even bring up the topic for one reason or
Yep,
another. So that's why I
yep.
love life.
Yeah, and the other thing too, just to encourage, if there's anyone watching who's like, "Why would churches talk about that?" Well, it may not be the person in your congregation, but likely, like, we're 1 degree removed from someone we know who's thinking about having one, and so if we can educate and equip the entire church, but particularly, those who are in the teenage and 20s age range, if we can equip them so that they can speak, apologetically about it. They understand that it's not a glob of tissues. It's, child fearfully and wonderfully created. Not only the scientific and the apologetics, but the emotional and the physical support side. Hey, our church will help you. If
Yep.
they run into someone, a friend or a relative or coworker who's thinking about having one, they can say, "Hey, our church is here to help, and I want to help you."
Yeah. And
So,
that's so
anyways, it's not
important.
enough just to say, "Hey, that's wrong," but hey,
Yeah.
it is wrong, but man, let us come alongside of you. We
Yeah.
wanna be that
It's
help for you.
important for the church to be really active because I think that's been a common thing that I've just among talking to people in the pro-life movement, like a common frustration is like, "Where's the church? Where's the church?" You know,
Yeah,
and to see that and the thing I love, and you can talk more about this too, but I think the thing that really stood out to me about Love Life was kind of how you guys go into a church. You've got everything that they need all kind of packaged up. And I think that's the
yeah,
smartest thing because pastors are busy, right? They've got a whole church, a whole congregation. So, with the issue of abortion, when it comes to getting people involved, you have to break down as many barriers as possible and make it so easy for them to like enter into it. And you guys do that. You
yeah,
go to the church, you have everything they need. The pastor pretty much doesn't have to do anything. They just have to say, okay. And then you guys are
yeah,
able to do what you do.
yeah, absolutely. So, I wish I could take credit for that, but I'm more like a bulldozer, like, I run 1,000 miles ahead of everyone else, so I cannot take credit for that. That philosophy was given to our founder, Justin Reeder, from the Lord, and really, I think it has a lot to do with his upbringing. He grew up the son of a pastor, and he also is now a entrepreneur. He's a businessman himself. So, Justin will tell you that he didn't graduate college. By God's grace, Justin's philosophy is let's do everything so simple that a
Yeah.
seventh grader could do it. And so, with this complex issue around abortion and with this, guilt and the pain associated with people having their past, a lot of pastors are just, they want to do something, they just don't know what to do. And so God invited Justin Reeder to a prayer meeting at the abortion center back in 2012 through David and Jason Benham. It was really an invitation. It all started with an invitation. Hey, would you come and see this place where babies are dying and lost and hurting people are going? And so Justin shows up and he's at this abortion center and he's, for anyone who's been to an abortion center, they have this similar experience of, wow, okay, the reality of innocent children are dying. And the other reality for the Christian is where's the church?
Yeah.
Where's the church? If we
Yeah.
believe that children in the womb are just as valuable as children outside the womb, then we should be here
Yeah.
offering the help of the church and the hope of Jesus.
Mhm.
And so Justin went back to his prayer closet, and a couple years went by. I think it was 2 years, and God started to burden Justin's heart. And he used the scripture out of Nehemiah 1 through 3. Nehemiah hears that the walls of the city are crumbling down, and Nehemiah, instead of springing off, running into action, Nehemiah fasted, he prayed, he sought the Lord, and then he went and saw the walls of the city himself, and then he called on the people of God to help rebuild the walls. And so we use that four-phase strategy of hear. Let's hear about the issue of abortion, like Nehemiah. Let's hear, and then let's stop and let's pray and let's fast. So we fast and pray on Wednesday after the church is preached. The pastors preached on Sunday, and then we go to these places and Emily, you native come and you've seen the prayer walk, you've seen the church present, you've seen the church worshiping and interceding and proclaiming the gospel outside these abortion centers. And then we connect, we tell
Yeah.
people when they come to a prayer walk, we don't want this to be the end of your
Yeah.
journey but the beginning, and there's four major connection pieces, and no particular order. We connect people to become mentors to help disciple the moms and dads who've made decisions for life, and then to walk alongside those who
Yeah.
maybe didn't but would like help.
Yeah.
We ask the church to get involved in sidewalk outreach. We want to
Mm.
be that last line of defense for that child outside these abortion centers, offering the truth in love
Yeah.
about what's about to take place.
That's so
Um, we,
important.
we
So
yeah,
important.
we ask them to connect to become foster care and adoptive parents. A lot of times pro-life community, we get accused of only caring about the
I was
baby in the
about to
womb.
say,
That's
"When are
simply
you
not true.
when are you gonna
Yeah,
adopt all the kids?" If it's like, "Well,
yeah,
that's what we're doing."
yeah, we do that, right? And you guys have been a great example in that regard too. And then last, again, if people have abortion in their past, we connect them to a ministry called Restored Life. And Restored Life just simply exists to equip, you know,
Yeah.
post-aborted moms and dads to a Bible-based study which can offer them redemption and healing. And so as that's taken place, we've had 200,000. That's actually another milestone that just happened. We've had 200,000 people show up across the nation since
Ooh,
2016 to a prayer walk. Yeah,
amazing.
and so again, we're just activating people, but we're
Mhm.
inviting them into this thing. We use language like, we're inviting you on a journey. We
Yep.
want to bring you to the local mission field. We know like
Yeah,
it's an abortion center, and
yeah,
I don't skirt away from some of those terms, but sometimes like
yeah,
mission field, when a
yeah,
pastor hears mission field, it connects his brain like, hey, I don't have to go just to Haiti. I don't
yeah.
have to go to India. I
You
can
can walk
I can
down
go
the
to my
street.
local, yeah, my local mission field. So just trying to change the language
Yeah.
to make it more about discipleship
I think it's
and
cool
really
too
speak
'cause
more redemptively. Yeah.
it is a journey, like, for most people, it may not be, like, what their life path ends up being, but for a lot of us, it's like, once we interact with abortion on some level,
Yeah.
especially going to an abortion clinic. I think when I was in college, I actually went into Planned Parenthood and was, like, trying to experience what other women experience, and it hit me. But once you experience that and you
Mm.
actually physically go to where they're doing it, it's like something in your brain, like, switches, and you can't ever really
Yeah.
go back to the way you were before, you
Yeah.
know? And I think that's why there's so many reasons I love life, but that's one of the reasons because you literally take people out of the church, you put them where it's happening, and
Mhm.
that's the most effective way to make people realize, like, okay, I have to do something, and here's a way to do it. Because again, like you talked about, sometimes I think even myself years ago, it's like I was afraid to even touch the issue of abortion because it felt like such a behemoth, and I felt like there's all these hurdles, and how could I actually make a difference, and I don't know
Yeah.
how. And but you guys are giving them away, and you're literally
Yeah.
going in and you're like, "Hey, come with us." So
Yeah.
it's genius.
Yeah. It's kinda like what Jesus did, like, I mean, if you think about Jesus, he didn't just go do the hard work and, then say, "All right, guys, it's your turn." Like, he brought them with him, and it's really the ultimate model of discipleship is to say, "Hey, we're in this together." And one thing that makes Love Life a little different, maybe not different from you guys, but different from a lot of people in the pro-life movement, is we try to position ourselves not as the subject matter experts. Now,
Yes.
if you were to ask our staff, like, we probably know more than the average person as it pertains to the, you know,
Yeah.
gestation period and
Yeah.
the science behind abortion and life. But we try to position ourselves just as someone to hold the hand of connect the pastor
Yes.
to the mom or to the care center and really just say, hey, this is a biblical issue. You don't have to be an expert in the
Yeah.
pro-life movement. You don't have to be an expert in,
Yeah.
abortion. You don't have to be an expert in law. You don't have to be
Just
an
your
expert.
average Joe
Dude, show
Christian.
up.
Just
Show
show
up,
up.
be present, pray to the God of the universe to
Yep.
do the miraculous things, and then watch God show off.
Yes,
And
and
he
that's
does.
he does. Like, you don't have to have all the qualifications and check everything off in order to start. Like, God's going to use you. You have to make the decision, like you said, to show up. And from our perspective, Brian, as people that have dedicated our lives to the pro-life movement, that's what we want from other people. We want you guys to just show up, even if you're not, like, making this life commitment. Like, we
Yeah.
need you, you know?
Well, here's the beauty of it. It's really so simple. Not only a seventh grader could do it, but we've dumbed it down in such a way where we were bringing our toddlers out with us. And in reality, as I was a partnering pastor before I was on staff with Love Life. Our church, adopted weeks, and we help disciple moms and things like that. But I remember probably one of the biggest impacts was we'd be sitting around the dinner table and I'm worried about preaching my sermon tomorrow, or I'm worried about where we're going to go on vacation in a couple of weeks, or I'm worried about fill in the blank. And we'd sit down to pray, and my kids would remind me like, we need to be praying for the babies. And I'm like, oh yeah, you're right, like we need
Yeah.
to. And they wouldn't allow me to forget about this thing. And the reason is
Yeah.
because they understood what I was too busy to understand, or I was too grown up to understand. They understood the value and the urgency that there are babies in our city who are scheduled to die,
Yeah.
and where we take a vacation in a couple months is not that big a deal.
Yeah.
And what we're gonna eat tomorrow or what sermon I'm gonna preach tomorrow, it's not that big a deal
Yeah.
compared to the urgency of
Yeah.
these innocent children in our cities and across our nation, which
Yep.
desperately need our help. They need God's
Yeah.
help. So my
The way
kids,
the way
we
kids
bring our
think,
kids out, you know?
I love it. They kids help us to really, like, take a step back, and I sometimes think our society doesn't give kids enough credit or, like, enough, I don't know what the word is, like, maybe we, like, baby kids too much sometimes, where I think that
Yeah.
they actually are really smart, and they
Oh, yeah.
actually have probably sometimes the best take on things
True.
that we can learn
True.
from, and so that's I mean, we talked about this before, but I absolutely love how you have raised your kids, they're the coolest kids ever, and, Moses being how old is he?
He's 10 now.
He's
Yeah, he's
10
10.
now. I felt like I was talking to an adult, like, he could have conversations with me that I probably couldn't have with a majority of 10-year-olds, and that's because you guys have given your kids the opportunity, and it's great because they need to know from an early age, obviously age appropriate, you're not, like, just throwing them into abortion, but
Sure.
they do come to understand, and I think that a lot of parents, should learn from you guys on how to, like, introduce abortion and the topic of abortion to your kids,
Mhm.
not just, like, wait on it and hope that they form the right opinion.
Yeah, and, what's interesting about that, thank you for those compliments, by the way, and, honestly, like, all credit to the Lord because, you know, we weren't raised Christian, and we didn't really know what we were doing necessarily, and so we had the Bible, we have the Spirit of God, and we have other, Christians, even our friends, the Stanfords, who you've got to meet, and Nate got to spend Easter. We were at their house, and just people that were great examples to us, helping us learn how to raise our kids. But there's a lot of stuff we got wrong, and actually, it's funny we're talking about this because I'm getting kind of like a revelation. The first prayer walk I went to was in 2016. I guess my son Jake would have been 12, right? So um, he was 12, and he was the oldest of my kids, and we were at a prayer walk, and that was probably his first exposure to this issue. And it was during that prayer walk where they're talking about abortion, they're talking about the gospel, they're talking about all these amazing things that Love Life talks about. But it was in that prayer walk where they said, "Hey, if you are in this crowd and you have abortion in your past, we want to let you know that abortion is not the unforgivable sin. If you're struggling with that, we want to let you know that God died for your sin and that He wants to free you from that sin." And my 12-year-old son, Jake, looked at me and he said, "Dad, have you ever had an abortion in your past?" And it was in that moment where I was confronted with my past. And even though theologically I could have told you that, Jesus died for my sin and I was justified, declared righteous, he doesn't even remember my sin. In that moment when he asked me that, I just started weeping.
Mm,
And he's weeping too. And he grabs me and we're hugging each other. And I'm like confused as to what the heck is going on. Right.
mhm.
And so it was in that moment where the Lord revealed I needed some healing.
Yeah.
And two is that I need to be a part of this ministry where, they're equipping churches and families, right? My 12-year-old son. So I'm just saying, to the credit of Love Life, obviously it wasn't something I was even talking to my son about. And
Yeah.
and and I've always been pretty forthright, sometimes a little bit too much unfiltered. I've had to learn how to be a little more filtered.
That's one of my
Um
favorite parts about you.
yeah, I'm surprised I haven't said anything crazy yet on this podcast. But it's to the credit of this ministry where families can be welcomed. It's a family
Yeah.
ministry. And now you see Moses who's 10 and he's like he grew up in it.
Yeah.
And Moses can probably lead people to the Lord, and Moses can
Yeah.
can pray, and Moses can do things that most 10-year-olds couldn't. Definitely when I was 10 I couldn't do
Yeah.
the stuff he's done. And it's not really to my credit, it's more
Yeah.
just the Holy Spirit's work in our
Yeah.
lives.
He's the
But yeah,
coolest.
we've always included our children in ministry.
I think
Whether
that's
it was
really
abortion
important.
ministry or we planted a church and we did homeless
Yeah.
ministry.
It's
so on and so
important.
forth.
We gotta give kids more credit that I think they can handle more than sometimes we think, but again,
Yeah.
like, understanding that, you're not just gonna, like, whip out, pictures of aborted babies, right? There's, like, a way to do it, but, Nathan's younger sister, I think she was 12 when we first started talking to her about abortion because that was right around the
Mhm.
time that Let Them Live got started, and she hadn't really been taught that yet, and Nathan and I both felt like it was our responsibility to start, like, getting her into it,
Yeah.
and
Yeah.
understanding, and so I think that's a really cool point, and I love that Love Life does that, so I think it's a great resource for anyone, and maybe we can talk about this as well, like, people listening to this, watching this, like, that live all over the place, all over the US, like, how can they get involved with Love Life? Obviously, guys go to social media,
Sure.
follow all that stuff, but, like, if they wanna do, one of the walks or become a
Yeah.
donor or whatever.
Yeah. So, I mean, definitely you can reach out to me. It's Brian, Brian at lovelife.org. And I can, help direct you in any way that you feel led by God. But I would say one of our biggest initiatives, which I think is probably going to be our main thing in a couple years. Obviously, we have 22 cities across the nation that are doing, 40 consecutive prayer walk weeks, which is what I described earlier. And you can go to one of those. You can check out our website, lovelife.org, look at those locations. We literally have them, up and down both coasts and, in the Midwest and et cetera. So definitely want to highlight and say, go there. If you're in one of those cities, go there. But there's a lot of places we're not, but we don't currently exist. However, anywhere there's a church, anywhere there's people, there's going to be people having sex. And likely there's going to be people who are looking for abortions.
Yeah.
And so we think anywhere there's people and anywhere there's a church, that churches should participate in what we call the House of Refuge initiative. If you go to lovelife.org/refuge, you'll be able to pull up all the details in there. But it's really two simple things we're asking churches to do. The first is we're asking pastors to read a statement from the pulpit that just lets the church know, like, hey, this is First Baptist Church of Conover, and we're a house of refuge, and here's what that means. If you or someone you know finds himself in unexpected pregnancy, we want to let you know this
Yeah.
church is a safe place for you to run to instead of run from. And
Yep.
this church won't gossip about you. This church won't, et cetera. This church will do everything in our power biblically to come alongside of you. And also, if you have abortion in your past, we want to let you know abortion is not the unforgivable sin. All those who forsake their sin and turn towards Christ will be forgiven. So we want pastors to read that statement, and we want the pastors to assign a person in the church who can be the representative, someone that we can train, someone that the congregation respects and the pastor trusts, because pastors have a lot going on and pastors are spinning
Yeah.
a lot of plates. So we don't want to give them another plate to spin, but inevitably we want to help be a blessing to them. We want this ministry to be refreshing to them. But we also want their church to be positioned as a lighthouse in their cities, that if a mom is
Mhm.
considering abortion, that she can turn to the church,
Yep.
and the pastor in that church will be proactively trained,
We want
ready, and
those
equipped.
we want those
Yeah,
moms, like, when they have that mindset, like, we don't want their first thought to be abortion, like, we want them to
exactly.
know that they can just turn to the church, and I have to say too, like, even if you're in a state like Tennessee, for example, where legally abortions, aren't supposed to happen, abortions are still happening. You got the abortion pill, all of that. They can
Oh, yeah.
travel out of state. So, like, if you're someone that, kinda automatically goes to, "Oh, well, I don't have abortions in my state. This doesn't
Yep,
apply to me." It does apply to you because abortions are still happening,
absolutely.
like, near you, in your state, around your state, and you can still save lives by
Well, yeah,
partnering with Love Life.
to that point, so in Charlotte, North Carolina, Preferred Women's Health Center in Latrobe, off Latrobe Drive here in Charlotte, I think it's one of the deadliest places in America. Prior to Roe versus Wade, this abortion center was doing 40 to 50 abortions a day. And they don't do, all the other stuff that maybe a Planned Parenthood claims to do and all that. They only do abortions. And so they're doing 40 to 50 a day. Since Roe versus Wade has been overturned, we are experiencing about 80 to 100 abortions a day, Monday through Saturday. And I would say
Heartbreaking.
primarily these women are not from North Carolina. So we
Yeah.
have women coming from Georgia. We have
Yep.
women coming from Tennessee, Virginia. We've seen Mississippi, New York, Ohio, South Carolina, Florida. Like, these women are coming from all over because this this abortion center not only is doing the most abortions, but they're really good at advertising. And so even
Yep.
I bet wherever you guys are, especially if it's in the Southeast, if you Google an abortion, it would redirect you to their abortion center.
Yeah.
And so the reason that it's so important for us to have House of Refuge churches already prepared is because by God's grace, we're seeing about 8 to 10 babies saved every week here in Charlotte. And the goal isn't just to save babies. Praise God when a baby gets saved, but if we can intercept that mom and say, "Mama, we've got help for you in your city," then whether it's New Carrollton, Georgia, or Nashville, Tennessee, or Roanoke, Virginia, we want to have churches raised up that are saying, "Hey, we're ready to answer that call."
Ready to go, being proactive, not reactive.
Yeah. So that's it. So yeah,
That's
if
beautiful.
that would be the number one way I'd say anybody can get involved. Again, you can reach out to me, Brian, at lovelife.org, but you can check out lovelife.org and then lovelife.org/refuge to learn more about becoming a house of refuge. And by God's grace, I just got back from Australia a couple months ago, and you can't even go 150 yards of an abortion center there. And so when they heard about House of Refuge, they're like, "Man, come tell us more." We just learned from that trip there's already 15 churches signed up in Australia. We've got
Wow!
churches now in Kenya, Cameroon, Africa, Canada, Bosnia. So this stuff's starting to spread
Wow.
throughout the world. And again, it's not about Love Life. It's not about what we're doing. We're just equipping churches to be part of this network that can really help save lives and disciple moms and dads.
100%. Well, that's what I love most about you guys too. I keep saying that. There's everything I love the most about you guys, but, like,
Keep
we all
talking.
have the same mentality of, like, this is not
Yeah.
about us, like, you could completely take the name out of it, we're gonna still do the work, like, it doesn't matter, like,
Yeah.
the glory is not ours at the end of the day, and I really hope that people listening to this, if you guys belong to a church and your church doesn't really have some sort of ministry like this, eh, I would really encourage you to reach out, and again, remembering that this is already, like, packaged up. The pastor doesn't have to, like, do it, right? It's not added
Yeah.
to the pastor's plate, like, the pastor doesn't have to, like, do the grunt work. It's already done, it's already set up, and so I think that's a huge barrier, so I wanted to reiterate that for people because, I think, again, that's sometimes, like, what prevents people from getting into it is just the perceived hurdles, but with you guys, you've made those hurdles basically disappear, and so
Yeah.
just the
Yeah,
encouragement
and I
to
yeah,
bring
thank
it.
you, thank you. You're so encouraging, and everything you speak is true and positive towards us. But I also want to encourage churches that are already doing something. Like we need you to help us because
Yeah,
if we go into a city like Dallas, Texas, of course we want to reach churches that aren't doing much. But if there's churches that are, we want to we want to position those churches to help the other churches, right, to work together. Because
that's a good
like
point.
we had an instance, I don't know if you know this or not, Emily, you probably do, but the laws in Texas for abortion are very restrictive, and
Yeah.
so the abortion epidemic in Albuquerque is like spreading
Oh
like
my
wildfire.
gosh,
They're
it
opening
is
all these new clinics.
nuts.
It's nuts, and so by God's grace, we have a wonderful sidewalk or city director there named Ethel Mayharg, and she's helping equip Christians in Albuquerque, and the majority of these people are coming from Texas.
Wow,
And
yep,
so we had a church sign up somewhere near San Antonio to become a house of refuge, and then like we had like within a span of a month 3, 4 moms
yeah,
from
I
San
don't
Antonio
I don't
that all
doubt
needed
it.
help, right?
Yep,
And so this church is now overwhelmed. They're saying, "Man, like we wanna help, but
yeah,
we can't do it all." And it's like no
yeah,
one was designed to.
more
So we
churches.
really want more churches in those type cities to be able to collaborate together
Yep,
because the need is so great.
yeah. Well, and, Texas is another great example of a state where highly restrictive, but Colorado is depending on where you are in Texas as well, because I'm from Colorado, and I mean, we see abortion is also nuts and rampant there. Late term abortions, New Mexico and Colorado are just ugh. But
Yeah,
Texans are driving.
California.
Yet
Yeah.
California, like it's more accessible than I think sometimes we think or remember. And so that's another example of
Well, yeah, and they're
why it's so
flying. I mean,
important.
like I think New Mexico, Colorado, Illinois, California, maybe some other states where
Yep.
they're taking their taxpayers' dollars to fly people in,
Oh yeah.
put them up in a hotel, pay for their childcare while they're there, let them have the abortion, and then send them back home. And so
How
we really
caring.
need Yeah, yeah. Well, that's what they say. Planned
Yeah,
Parenthood says,
yeah.
"We care no matter what." And the reality is their slogan should be, "We care about money no matter what,"
I know. How do you
because it's
perform an
such a
abortion
lucrative
and
business.
ship them back off, you know? And there's nonprofits
Yeah,
that pay for that too, like, I think this is another thing that people have to understand, like, we're up against it, it's not just,
yeah.
like, Planned Parenthood, but there's nonprofits that are basically have the same mission as Let Them Live, just, like,
The
opposite
opposite.
purpose.
That's
It's to
crazy.
raise money
Let
so women
let them
can get
die.
yeah, can so they can get abortions and
It's
travel for
horrible.
them, and so I mean, I'm going on a tangent, but yeah,
No, yeah. That's
that's why
why
Love
I
Life
love
is
yeah, well, I love the way you started the podcast by just saying, like, "We need to work together." I remember
yeah,
when I met Nathan and we were talking about how much money that Planned Parenthood brings in every year, and he's like, "Man, we need to work together to beat that number." And I'm
yeah,
thinking like, "Dude, are you crazy?" And then I
yeah.
realized like, yeah, he is. He actually is a little crazy because he
Yeah,
believes the things that God says. Like God is bigger than Goliath. David is stronger and more powerful than Goliath because he has God.
yeah.
And so, yeah, we need to work together.
Well, yeah,
And
in the Bible, everyone's like, "Are you crazy, David? Like, are you like,
yeah,
what are you"
yeah, David, are
but
you sure?
and that's again, that's why we love it, and I know Nathan's crazy. I'm glad I'm not the only one. I always joke that his heart is bigger than his brain because he gave all of our money away to that first mom. But
Yeah, and he's
look,
got a pretty big brain, so
he
his
does, he
heart
has a
must be
huge head.
huge. He does.
Um,
Yeah, I went snowmobiling with Nathan, and there's a lot of stories I could tell from that trip, but one thing just as it pertains to his head, he had to get like a 5X helmet. Like, he had like the biggest helmet they made, and I still think it might have been a little tight.
oh my gosh, that
True story.
yeah, I first really learned I mean, I always thought his head was kinda big, but I realized, like, it's actually, like, huge when
Massive.
we were, stuck in Kansas City, Missouri, and I'm thinking, "Okay, like, let's just go home, like, let's get a flight home, whatever." Nathan's like, "Well, if we do a flight, we pay that money for a flight. It's not like we can get that money back. But I found this motorcycle on Facebook Marketplace, Emily, and we can buy it and then sell it. And so we can get our money back." And I don't know why I went along with it, but I did. So
Wow.
we Uber to someone's house to buy this motorcycle, and then we motorcycle our butts all the way from Kansas City to um Fort Wayne, Indiana. It was ridiculous. It was like but all that
Did you
to say, we went to the Harley Davidson so we could get helmets, and they they had to, like, go dig in the back to find the biggest helmet that they had
well, I
for
was gonna say,
Nathan's
you
head.
probably lost money on the deal because you had to get some special ordered helmet.
Oh my gosh, probably, like, what if it was yeah, so I yeah.
Did you, question though, did you make the money back?
Yeah, I think we did actually, which
He's so smart at that
he's
stuff,
a
man.
weirdo, like, I no there's no one I've ever met that thinks like him. We could do a whole podcast just talking about how unique Nathan is,
Yeah, that'd
and
be
all that
good.
stuff,
I
but
would listen to that podcast.
I would too. I would
I'd probably be on several episodes talking about stuff we've done
I
together,
do love,
hopefully.
like, poking fun at him. That would be kind of a fun one to, like, share all the stories, like, especially the snowmobiling stories that you guys have, so
Yeah. Uh, I mean, praise God because we thought he was hurt. So I'll just say that, and he wasn't.
he's always
But,
getting hurt in some
yeah,
way.
anyways.
I
Hey,
digress.
thank you for your time today. Thanks for allowing me to
Aw,
be
thanks,
here
Brian.
and to share a little bit about what
Yeah.
we're doing
Thank
together.
you for sharing Love Life. I can't say it enough. Like, guys, please support Love Life. We're all doing this together. We all have our gifts and our talents that God has given us. And, not one of us can do every single thing. So I'm really grateful, Brian. I'm glad we did this. And
Yeah, thank
I'm
you.
sure that we'll have you back on to talk about more
Sure,
milestones that you guys
sure.
reach. And hopefully we'll see you soon.
Yeah, thank you, Emily. God
I
bless you.
can't hear you. Why can I not hear you, Brian?
What
I don't
happened?
know. What the heck?
You
Hang on.
muted me,
Oh, yeah, well, I muted you and then unmute okay, I can hear you now.
so we're good. Thank you, Emily, if we're gonna cut this in. Thank
Gracias,
you.
señor.
Let them live in Espanol. What is that?
Something Vida.
Vida. Them nostros os I don't know. I need to ask my wife. Hopefully, this doesn't make it on the
I
podcast.
think it will, 'cause this
Uh-oh.
is real talk. So, okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, okay. Bye. Just kidding. I love you, Brian.
Yeah, thank you. Thanks for having me.
Yeah, say
Appreciate
hi
it.
to
And my
Carolina.
love to Nathan, and
I
yes,
will. my
See you
big-headed
guys soon.
husband.
Thank you for tuning in to the Let Them Live podcast with Emily Burning. If you enjoyed this episode, please let us know your thoughts in the comments and make sure to subscribe so you don't miss the next episode.